Yeah, welcome to the yard, it's that Birdland sound. Big town sports, yeah, we holding it down. Bleeding orange, dripping purple, that's the code we claim. Crab cake, hustle, Old Bay in the veins. From Camden Yards to the air, we all the same. That beat more fire running deep in our veins. From the block to the booth, yeah, we bringing that flame. Big town sports, steady carving the game. Talking stats and facts, we don't cap, we react. Breaking plays, dropping gems, keep it all exact. Ravens on the rise, O's back in their zone. We the next up, Baltimore zone. Yeah, microphone heat when we speak that truth. It's Pigtown Sports, yeah, we speak for the youth. Yeah.
Grab a crab cake plate, pour that natty bowl. When the mics turn on, man, you already know we the best up and coming Orioles podcast today. Spitting stats and facts with that Old Bay flame. From the block to the booth, we don't play no games. Pigtown Sports, remember the name. Woo!
Well, I have to say that's quite the intro song there. Shout out to British Raven there for turning me onto that website to build that there. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. Things in Birdland are changing. I don't think this is a Mike Elias puppet show anymore. And I think with the hiring of Craig Albanese, the guard has kind of changed a little bit. Craig's brought in his entire staff, the guys that he wants. And is this potentially just a San Francisco Giants staff so far? Maybe. But I don't think you're going to find too many people that are really going to complain about it. Donnie Ecker, Dustin Lind, and Craig Albanese all coached together in San Francisco. That team in 2021 won 107 games. Didn't make the World Series or whatnot. But, this staff here, when you look across everything, are pretty well versed in the playoffs. Like I said, 2021 they all went to the playoffs together. Albanese has went fairly deep into the playoffs 2 years in a row in 24-25 with Cleveland. Donnie Ecker won a World Series with Texas. We all know what Texas came into Baltimore did in 2023. And then you got Dustin Lind, who's went to back-to-back postseason visits here with the Phillies as the assistant hitting coach. So we've assembling a staff here that basically it has postseason experience, a lot more than what Brandon Hyde and Tony Mansolino had. So these young players here that haven't really kind of gone through this before, now maybe have some guys that can step in and say, hey, we've gone through this. Hey, we've made that deep run. Hey, I've won a World Series. This is what you see. This is how you prepare. This is how you keep your body together for a long season. We kind of seen it with Toronto this year. A lot of injuries started to mount up. And that Game 7 of that World Series, Bo Bichette was on one leg and George Springer was probably playing on one leg too. But that's just what it's like, that deep into the season there. And then these guys can kind of prep our young, Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, Jackson Holliday, Cowser, Adley. They can prep these guys for that. And that's kind of exciting. Nothing against Brandon Hyde or anything, but he didn't really go that far before, So, yeah, he was with a Cubs staff and whatnot, but I don't know. It just seems different. Every move they've made so far, every word that Mike Elias has said so far just seems different. And I don't know. I'm very excited about what this is so far this year. There are some returning coaches this year. So you got Buck Britton, Drew French, and Ryan Clement are already. And then Plassemeyer is also, this tweet is a little bit old, but Mitch Plassemeyer is also expected to return. So the Orioles are bringing a little bit of continuity back, which I think is a good thing. And look, the players kind of grew up with Buck. It's a good thing for Buck. He's had that relationship with these guys. And, Drew French, I think Drew's okay. I don't think he's bad by any means. Last year, obviously, he was dealt pretty horrible cards in the starting staff. Guys underperformed. A lot of guys got hurt and didn't even pitch. And then, a lot of it was waiver claims for the bullpen. But, for the most part, in that second half when they kind of traded everybody away, the bullpen wasn't terrible, and the starting pitching wasn't terrible. Not what you expect it to be. So, Drew French gets another year. Maybe this is a one-year audition with Craig Albanese. That's remained to be seen. Mitch Plassemeyer was the bullpen coach after Brandon Hyde was fired last year. No word on who was going to be the bullpen coach this year. But again, continuity with pitching with Drew French and Plastemeyer, for some of these returning guys, especially for something like Grayson Rodriguez and Dean Kramer and whatnot, some of these younger guys. And, it's exciting to see what they can bring back. But, I mean, let's talk about Donnie Ecker for a little bit. So Donnie Ecker was the offensive strategy coach in Texas for a couple of years. And was coaching with Alvarez in San Francisco and whatnot. He is considered one of the best offensive minds in all of baseball. And he's a young guy, 39 years old. He's just 2 years older than I am. But he's highly regarded around baseball. An industry source has told me he had multiple job offers this year from the Astros, from the Blue Jays, from the Angels, and also from possibly the Red Sox. And Boston Celtics were also trying to hire him because because of who he is. And then last year he turned down managerial jobs with the White Sox and Marlins. So this is a highly sought after guy, and he's coming here now to be our bench coach. This is a guy that I think that they look at that could be a manager to kind of grow underneath of this coaching tree here. And it could also be another reason why Buck Britton was retained, because Ecker's a guy that they potentially might see that could move on in a year or two to go be a manager, and then you groom Buck Britton for that bench coach role. So a lot of the kind of moving parts there, but this is kind of like Ecker also is like I said, he's one of the best offensive minds. So he's already worked with Dustin Lind prior, which to me is pretty cool because they have that relationship. They know what each other wants to do. They can help each other. It's a second eye. Having these two young guys and guys that are highly respected around the game. I mean, Lind coming from the Philly, and we know the kind of offense that Philly had for the last couple of years, and Ecker coming from Texas, and we know what the kind of offenses Texas was supposed to have this past year. Now, Ecker was let go this past year in Texas, and I can see some people thinking that might be a negative thing or whatnot. There's some rumors around there where Bruce Bochy may have been a little threatened by Ecker, and some internal beef happened and whatnot, but Ecker was let go, and it's not like Texas really got any better once he was let go offensively. Some people assume they would be because of the talent there. They really didn't get that much better. But Ecker, I'm excited about Ecker. I think he's going to probably, and the thing I like about him most, he's a contact guy. Him and Lind both like their analytics. I've kind of dove into them a little bit. And some things that I really like to see where, Philly really attacked the ball last year. They had one of the, probably arguably maybe the second best offense last year. But what I found was really funny was they also were leading the league, or they were like top 3, depending on the zone, at swinging at pitches out of the zone. And you might think like that's probably a bad thing. But to me, I'm looking at, how many times did we watch the Orioles this past season, like either look at the first pitch right down the middle, or they would look at an 0-1 pitch down the middle. It just never seemed like they were ready to hit. So when I look at Philly and I say, okay, that they had the most swings out of the zone this year, they were just ready to hit and made it just a bad decision. I'd rather you swing at a ball out of the zone than just watch a fastball down the middle. And I pulled stats, and I wish I had them up at the moment here. I didn't have much time tonight. But like Baltimore was one of the teams that had the most watched pitches in the heart of the plate. And Philly didn't. Philly was the most aggressive. They had the most swings in the heart of the plate. So that tells me that Lind has these guys ready to hit. Granted, he was an assistant to Kevin Long. Kevin Long is also another great offensive mind. But he has that thought process in him too. So hopefully, Lind brings an attitude here, just being ready to hit, for your pitch, not guessing for a pitch. Because, how many times did we look at guys that were just swinging all over the place? And it was funny when I looked at it, and I was in a Discord talking with some guys, and I put it in there, and I was like, the Orioles are one of the best teams in the league and not swinging out of the zone, in the chase zones and what like that. And I said, well, who do you think would have been the most? And they were like, oh, Cowser, easily. Cowser was like 5th most that's swinging out of the zone this past year, which is wild to me. Gunnar Henderson actually led the team at swinging the balls out of the chase zone, which shocked me, but it goes back to just being ready to hit. not having the battle on your shoulder that much. So I'm okay with that. And I hope they bring that philosophy here. Just have these guys ready to pounce early and often, not just waiting for a specific zone or for a specific pitch, or not going up there thinking, okay, he throws this with 2 strikes or he throws this in a 1-1 count. Just go up there, put the bat in your hands and compete. Analytics are great when you go up to the plate to know a certain thing, but it's not for you to sit there and think about every different count. Cowser, to me, looked like a guy that was always just overthinking in the box. And it drove me nuts. Like, I think Cowser's a great player, but he just always looked like a guy that was just thinking and thinking and thinking. And when he guessed right, it looked great. But when he guessed wrong, man, was it ugly. I hope these guys come in here and settle him down, settle Adley Rutschman down. And another thing that I saw from Cowser, his swing path tilt, major league average is 32 degrees. Cowser was 39. Now, it works for some guys. It works. Freddie Freeman's a 43 degree. It works for some guys to almost swing straight up, but it doesn't for everybody. And Cowser, I think, was a guy that just was told, hey, you got a lot of power. Let's start swinging with it. I'm hoping these guys kind of bring it back in and realize that Cowser can drive the ball to left field, and he can drive the ball down, left center or left field line and stuff like that. He can pull it when he needs to. He can hit it 450 feet, if the pitch is there, but don't try for it. And that's what I hope that these guys brings to some of these guys, especially Adley too. Not dropping down on the back knee and stuff when you're swinging, not uppercutting. Now, what I liked about Craig, and I think that he shares this philosophy, and this is why he brought these guys in, was his philosophy was everybody is different, and we need to coach them to their strengths and not coach them like an umbrella. Hopefully, and this is just me thinking here, that he's not bringing these guys in if they share a different philosophy than him on that. Hopefully they're all under the same understanding there to where they can break down film and say, so Jeremiah Jackson does the HLP hitting. It's a controversial swing. And if you guys don't really know what it is, excuse me, it's what this guy named Teacher Man swings, that he claims that he taught Aaron Judge how to swing. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it. Jeremiah Jackson can. Don't mess with him. It doesn't mean that Adley Rutschman can do it too, because we've kind of seen that he can't. Adley's a good contact swing. We've seen it when he first came up. Let's get back to that swing. Level that swing out a little bit. Focus on driving the ball for doubles and stuff. So there's a lot that these guys can come in and fix. They draw a lot of walks. Their approach is to kind of see some pitches and whatnot. So I'm hoping they get Jackson Holliday back into doing that. If we can kind of get some guys settled down and whatnot. I did pull today that Holliday's 677 and in the leadoff spot only, right? So in the leadoff spot only, with guys that have over 110 games at that role, Jackson Holliday's 677 OPS was the 16th lowest since 2000. So, one, do you allow him to still be a leadoff knowing that? Or two, do you let him work with these guys, flatten a swing out a little bit, pitch recognition get a little bit better? Obviously, he's another year mature. Do you kind of let him start off? These are some of the questions that Craig's going to have to answer. We'll probably find that out closer into spring training as games get moving on and whatnot. I think these guys are coming in. Yes, there's a lot of talent here, but yes, there's also a lot of things to kind of go over and fix and iron out. So that's what I'm most excited to see. And they're not going to have a ton of time to do it in spring unless some of these guys get down here early. What are they going to do with a Heston Kjerstad? Can they fix him? Can they get his bat speed back to where it used to be? How can you tweak Jordan Westberg into making him a good player into a great player? Like all these little things. So coaching matters, and I'm excited. And this one is not a Mike Elias filled team. I know it may seem that way with some of these guys being retained and whatnot. You got to have a little continuity somewhere, so I'm excited about that. Let's get back into some more of what Elias is talking about. So this is his wish list this year. Frontline starting pitcher, closer or late inning reliever, and a veteran bat, possibly to fit into the outfield. Now, there are rumors from John Heyman that the Orioles are in on Pete Alonso, which I think is freaking awesome, right? For two reasons, right? Not that I hate Kobe Mayo by any means. I think Kobe Mayo is going to be a fine player in this league someday. Somebody's going to get a hold of him. They're going to fix his swing, and he's going to be just fine. You sign Pete Alonso, who did hit over 300 with runners in scoring position last year, and I believe he was over three. Don't quote me on this because I haven't checked it in a good bit, but I believe he was over 340 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Give me that guy and flip Kobe Mayo for, you build a package for Ryan Weathers or Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez if you see a fit there, Alcantara or whatnot. Build a package around Kobe Mayo because he probably has the most value over anybody that's actually available on the team. Is Cowser available? Maybe. Mayo's got more leverage right now, I think, because of the power. Give me an Alonso because that checks off 2 boxes there. Get you a frontline starter because you can flip. Now, closer is going to be something that I think they're going to need to be aggressive on. Now, there was a report today that things could start happening here within a couple hours. Doesn't seem like that really happened today, but hopefully the O's get here quick and are jump to the punch. I haven't decided myself who I prefer between Robert Suarez and Edwin Diaz. Suarez I like, and I think everybody likes Suarez. Being 35 and wanting a multi-year deal, I think what might be his only negative, with Diaz only being 31, I feel more inclined to giving a longer-term deal to. But with bullpen, being so volatile, do you really want to give that long of a deal to a reliever? Because some of these guys sometimes are really good, and then the next year, they're gone. And I think it was the Reds guy, and I can't remember his name. But he either was an all-star or was close to an all-star in 24, and then middle of 25, he was gone. Sent down, gone. That quickly. These kind of things happen. And I'm nervous on long-term deals about that, but you got to take a swing too. They think Felix Bautista potentially could come back late August, September. I'm not buying it. I don't think that guy ever throws a pitch again. And if he does, how effective is he going to be? But I'm excited to hear about a veteran bat. I don't know if you're going to find that veteran bat in free agency, at least in center field. Could be, I think a trade would probably get you more of what you want. Even as far as just center fielders go, there's not a whole lot of teams that would really give up anything. I looked into Brenton Doyle a little bit. Doesn't really move my needle all that much. Good player, but, is Buxton going to waive his no trade clause? Buxton's played 11 years. He's only played 100 games 3 times or something like that. Fantastic player when he is healthy, but can you afford to have Buxton and Tyler O'Neill on the shelf at the same time? Couple months, if they only play 100, even if they play 100 games, you're looking at 60 less games without him. I don't know. But a lot of that seems to be seen here. So I am excited about Mike's talking here lately. He also had this to say. The ownership is willing to dip into the red considerably. In the short term, we recognize we've got a core that can use some of the competition. So they're saying that they're not afraid to go out and spend a good bit of money. Now, last year they had a $159 million payroll. I believe currently, after the couple signings and picking up Kittredge's option, they're at 94. So you're looking at a team that could already spend close to $70 million just to get back to last year. But if you want to go in the red, the red's going to be around 220. Can you imagine if this team put in $110 million this offseason? You're looking at quite a few quality players. Now, we did see the report today come out that San Diego is looking for investors because, quite frankly, they're broke. And it's weird to say, too, because when you look at San Diego and their revenue, they're always around what the Orioles are. And, when they started, I think it was 2021 is when they started their insane spending. And I want to say they went from, I broke it down here. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter real quick and read it out to you so I don't get it wrong. But they spent a lot of money in a short amount of time, and they're paying for it now. Yeah, so in 2019, they had a $133 million payroll, which is okay. 2020, we don't count because everybody's payroll wasn't what it should be. So I left that off. So go from 133. So 2021, you went up to 206. So they added 70 million here real quick, which is fine. You know what? They're the 8th largest city in the U.S. You think they would be able to handle that. 2022, 213, right? So they upgraded a little bit more. 2023, 283 million. So you added 140 million in a 3-year span. As a fan, that's fantastic. We love to see that kind of spending money. 2024, they dropped down to 227. So they dropped roughly 55 million. And then last year in 25, they went up to 273. So they added another 50 million. Now, in my opinion, the Yu Darvish contract, horrible. The Alexander Bogaerts contract, horrible. They've got Tatis locked up for a long time. I think they still owe him like $300 million. Machado, they still owe a ton of money to. Merrill, they still owe a good chunk of money to. And Merrill gave them an insanely team-friendly deal. Yeah, he signed for like 130-ish, 160-ish. I can't remember the exact numbers. But he probably cost himself $150 million just waiting a year or two. Team-friendly deal. Insane. But you know what? They're a team that has been linked to around what Baltimore is all the time. And they didn't win, and now they're broke. So I don't know. That Mike's got to proceed with caution a little bit. If we want him to spend money, I think you got to spend it wisely. You can't go out there and dump a bunch of, 10 to 15 million into I forget the closer's name. Everybody hated. And then Gary Sanchez and then Charlie Morton. You can't just keep spending 10, 15 million on these old dudes, right? Spend it wisely. Tyler O'Neill contracts, as of right now, look horrible. But hopefully he bounces back this year and we can all eat those words. But for right now, it looks bad. And, there's a lot of things that we can do to spend money and get the right players in. I just hope they stick to what they're saying, right? Don't get us all excited. Look, I'm excited through the freaking roof, to be honest with you, about all of this. And I just don't want to be let down. People were let down from the liftoff comments a couple of years ago. Liftoff, look, we went and won a ton of games. So did they lift off? Yeah, in the win column, they did. But they need to spend their money. So I don't know. So what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, it's very easy to say, like, when you hear Mike Elias say these exact words right here, like, it's easy to go back and be like, yeah, right, dude. We've heard this before. But like, are you starting to get that sense of change like I am? And I said it myself. I felt like the day they fired Brandon Hyde, everything changed in that organization. The way that they've done things, the way that they kind of attack things, the way that they started to kind of speak publicly. And I said it myself the other day, and let me see what I said here. Because I asked about, like, have we ever heard Mike Elias say specific things that he wanted before? Yes. So it was this one. So it was this one. Okay. I never heard Mike speak like this before and come out and say exactly what he wanted. Like, that's pretty new to me. I'm pretty sure it's probably new to you guys. Like, usually it would be like, oh, we're going to be pretty aggressive within our means. We're going to look at some quality players, this and that. Like, for a long time, we didn't hear the words World Series. We didn't hear playoffs. We didn't hear frontline starting pitcher or veteran bat. It was, we'll take a look and stuff like that. But to start to hear him say his wish list and speak like he was Craig Breslow of the Red Sox and say exactly what he wants to do, that starts to make me feel different. and I know it's not going to make everybody else feel different, completely entitled to your opinion. He has to put up and shut up at this point. He has to prove it. And I completely understand when people say that. And I'm not even going to argue that. But I'm excited to at least hear the grumblings already. John Heyman saying that they're interested in Alonso. You know, we've heard that they're going to be very aggressive in the closers market already and stuff like that. Boris saying that they're going to be probably one of the top spending teams, in the majors this year. Now, Boris does represent Alonso, so maybe those two tie together already. I don't know. But it's a different thing in Baltimore that I don't think we've experienced, at least in my lifetime. Hearing guys that are going to come out and say we're gonna spend big. Now, don't go spend big on Gleyber Torres and stuff like that. Like, got to be for the right guys. Don't just go out and throw money out just to throw it out. You know, I don't want you to go out and give Ryan Helsley $20 million a year for 4 years or something like that just to say that you did it. Like, be smart about who you're buying and who you're giving your money to. I would love to go after Bo Bichette and Alonso and some of these more veteran players, Alex Bregman and whatnot. Is there room? Probably not. Find it. I'm sorry to say that. Find it. You're trying to win. So I saw even Mike's comments about Grayson. You know, they acknowledge the fact that he hasn't pitched in over a year. They're not going to just throw him right back into the fire. They're not going to rely on him. I felt like last year they did rely on him. And this is where I think things have started to change is last year, Mike probably looked at everything. Okay, I got Grayson. I got Tyler coming back. I've got Kyle Bradish coming back. Like, I got to keep some room. Let me sign some of these old guys. And if they don't work out, I can just cut them. These guys will come back. I think he looked at things and was just like, let me keep everything available for my guys. And it blew up in his face. And now I'm not going to rely on them. Whatever I get out of them is a bonus. I'm going to cover my butt, and I'm going to go out and sign guys, which I think is great. Because last year, I think if last year didn't happen, we'd be sitting here right now waiting for Trey Gibson to get a shot or waiting for Levi Wells to get a shot or something like that instead of going out and trying to land a top-end starter. They would leave that hole in the rotation. I don't think that's the case anymore. I still think Grayson is going to give us some good stuff this year. I really do. And Mike said whatever we get out of him is a bonus. I think you're going to see that bonus at some point this year. I think Grayson's going to help us win a couple big ball games. So I'm just glad that they're not going to rely on it. Now, are they going to try and acquire some arms? I might have already mentioned it or not. I'm a big Ryan Weathers fan. I think having two really good lefties in this rotation would be pretty ideal. I don't think Cade is there just yet. He's still got a little bit to learn. They need a little bit of help in the left side on the bullpen. I don't want to rely too much on Aiken either. Maybe Cade could work there. I'm not sure, but I don't know. So there's a lot of room. This team isn't that far off. It's not like they need to go out and buy like a whole new lineup or whatnot, but you get one or two really quality veteran bats in there, and then like one or two quality starters. And they don't have to be Framber Valdez and Ranger Suarez. They don't have to be. There's still some really good arms out there. If you acquired, Alcantara or Joe Ryan or Ryan Weathers, and then like you spent your qualifying offer pick on Brandon Woodruff or something like that, or you spent it on Kyle Schwarber, and then you only have to. So my ideal, right? So plug and play here, either between Alonso or Schwarber. That doesn't really matter to me. But give Gunnar Henderson protection in front and behind him. And when I say that is, like, say if you put Schwarber in front of Gunnar or Pete, doesn't matter. I don't care. Who's going to hit after him? Like, so who's protecting Gunnar at that point? Well, there, I want to take a swing at Eugenio Suarez. Why not? Put him at a full-time DH. I know that you got to leave DH open for Sammy and whatnot, but bring in Suarez, guy who is going to hit 35 to 40 home runs, maybe 45. Why not? Why not protect Gunnar Henderson? Why not make a team petrified to throw to Pete Alonso in the 3-hole, Gunnar in the 4-hole? For years we didn't have a 3 and 4 hitter. It was let's go right after Gunnar and then maybe we'll catch Santander on a bad at bat, or Santander hit it out. Like, it was a 50-50, but and it would be the same with Suarez again. Like, you have to go right after Gunnar, because if you walk him, potentially could be 1 to 2 guys on base, and Suarez is going to hit the ball out. Like, put somebody behind Gunnar along with him. And I think you'll see 2024 Gunnar back pretty quickly. There's other options out there. So they got to just pick and choose. But I think they should be aggressive. Sounds like they're going to be aggressive, which is what excites me. But then it goes back to the coaching staff too. Like, what can these guys do for the core to get them to be better ball players? Don't just go out and just buy when you can maybe get Cowser and Adley back to being respectable hitters, and Jackson back to the OPS machine that he was in the minors. I know the minors are different. I know it. Don't hit me on that. But how do we get them back to this point is what I'm saying. Like, what can you do individually for each one of these guys to get them to elevate their game? What can you do to get Dylan Beavers to hit the ground running instead of taking 2 months to really get into the swing of it and be a consistent hitter? What can you do to get Samuel Basayo to come out and hit 5 to 7 home runs in April right away? Like, getting our young guys on par quickly would be the best thing, I think, for this organization, regardless of who they sign. So there's room all around to add people. There's, I don't know the right word for this, but there's talent around that needs to be fixed. Let's just put it that way. I'll put it nicely. There's talent around that needs to be fixed. And what can you do to get them back to their point? So let's go back. Let's hit some comments here. I just added this graphic today, so excuse me if when I put this first thing up, it looks terrible. Okay, it looks terrible. So we'll put that there. All right, cool. So we'll get to some comments here if I know how to use my mouse. Love the new intro. Appreciate that. All right, who will be instrumental in improving the defense? TG, that's a great question. They haven't really talked about who yet is going to be the infield coach, and I think that's going to be pretty significant. Tony Mansolino was the infield coach. I'll be brutally honest. I felt like the infield wasn't that good under him. We watched the crappier teams in the beginning of Mike Elias' era still play better defense than these guys did. They knew where to put the ball. They knew what base to go to. They knew when to take the extra base. They were aggressive. Just the little things, the footwork and just a whole bunch of little stuff. I just felt like every year just felt like it degraded across the entire field. So it'd be pretty interesting to see who they do bring in for that. It's a good question. In recording this, my man Wayne, what's up, man? How you doing? All right. Let's see. Change with the added continuity. We'll see what gets into the new era. The Orioles, time for our guys to pick that slack back up, though. 100%, Nick. 100%. So we can't rely on everybody that they're going to bring in to just carry us. The new pitching, the new hitters, whatever they do bring in. You can't rely on that. Like, these new coaches, their number one job is going to be, how do I fix this core here that's supposed to be really, really good? Because right now they haven't played up to my thought of their potential. I think they're really good players across the board. Right now they haven't lived up to it. So that's their probably number one goal right now, is to come in here and fix them. And if you fix them, this team, the sky's the limit. And I think we can all agree with that. We saw it in 23 and we saw it in 24. The sky is the limit if you get these guys back to what they could be. Hopefully they get to that point. Oh, thank you. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? A lot of comment. Yeah, you guys are over here just talking to each other. Is Mabry coming back? Great question, Brian. I haven't heard that he is. I did hear about all the other guys that they were going to be retained. I haven't heard a thing about Mabry, and I've asked a couple times here to a source. Nobody seems to know, and I don't know if that's on the Orioles' end. I don't know if that's on Mabry's end. Does he want to continue to do what he was doing? I don't know. But as of right now, I would say I wouldn't expect him to be back. I don't know with his philosophies if they're going to align maybe. Again, this is me spitballing. I have no context in this whatsoever. If his philosophies align with Ecker and Lind and whatnot, how would that mix kind of thing? So as of right now, I just haven't heard that he is coming back. Too many lefties. That I agree with. How can the Orioles go out and find some good right-handed bats? That's a question that remains to be seen. I think the better of the ones that you're going to find are obviously going to be Pete, Suarez, Bregman, Bichette. God, I would love Bichette. The top of the lineup guy that can just hit with 2 strikes, hit with runners on it. Oh, God, man. We want to talk about a table set. I would love Bichette. But, we'll see. You would hope they can get Kerstad back to where he used to be before he got beamed in the head. We don't know what the deal is, but if you could, that was a guy that looked like he was on a promising trend to be a good big league hitter. So get him back to that and let him claw his way back into a viable piece for this team. Can we make an emphasis on some righties? I think they are. I mean, Tyler O'Neill, look, we are going to have to rely on Tyler O'Neill this year at some point for some things. I know fans don't want to hear that. Tyler is a good player when he is healthy. Hopefully he stays healthy this year and can contribute like we thought he was going to do. He's got power. He's won some Gold Gloves. He's played good defense in his career. It just seemed like everything in 2024 was horrible for Tyler O'Neill. So hopefully they kind of get that back and get his mind right and his body right, and kind of, they are also retaining the head medical staff guy. So, I mean, there is that. I know some fans may not want to hear that, but again, continuity, maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe things were just freak accidents last year. Maybe they weren't doing things differently than anybody else, but we don't know. They brought him back for a reason though. So we'll kind of just have to go with that. Cowser and Mayo for Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez. I think it would take a lot more than that for both. From what I've been reading, Joe Ryan's asking price is astronomical, and rightfully so. He's a pretty good pitcher. He's definitely maybe a low end 1, definitely a high end 2. So it could start with Cowser and Mayo just for Joe Ryan. I don't know. I don't know personally. I don't know how the Twins value Mayo or value Cowser. That's the thing, is we value our guys at one way. How does the Twins value him, or how do the Marlins value these guys? That's the kicker. The Marlins could say, man, Mayo for Alcantara and give me another low-level minor league guy, and I'm happy, right? Well, the Twins could be like, I need Mayo and 5 other guys. Because they're obviously, they know what Joe Ryan is, and they have to evaluate Mayo and see how he helps their team. Their evaluations might be completely different than the Marlins. You know what I mean? So it just depends on, and then, somebody say like the Red Sox swoop in and they get a crazy package going, and then they come back and say, hey, I do want Kobe Mayo, but they gave me this package, and I'm going to need you to up the ante here with 3 other players. Like, that kind of stuff happens all the time too. What do you think of trading with the Twins for a package of Buxton and Lopez? I like Buxton. I do as a player. I would be really reluctant to give up a lot for a guy that doesn't play 100 games very often. When he's on the field, he's electric. He's game-changing. There's no doubts about it. Probably one of the best center fielders in baseball. You just got to keep him on the field. And I don't think, at least the Twins haven't found a way to do that yet. I would just be reluctant. The package would have to be right. But great player. I would definitely take him if you could find a way to get him to play 120 games. But even then, still missing 40 games sucks, But you got to do what you got to do. Oh, I can't read that one. There we go. Mayo for Sandy straight up, Kramer and EBJ, and another prospect for Quan, Povich, Williams, and a prospect for Rasmussen. Sign Robert Suarez, Alonso, and Bader. That'd be a hell of a spot. I don't think those trades necessarily get it done. I have been seeing some Rasmussen talks, and it sounds like the price is almost as high as Joe Ryan. I think the Rays know what they have in that, and they know teams really want this guy. Rasmussen might be a Mayo and EBJ kind of guy. Can't say that I wouldn't do it. I almost love EBJ. I think he's going to be a really fine player. He's going to be a great defender, definitely. But you already have Austin O'Verne clipping at his heels. You know, we keep hearing about Nate George. You know, how far away is he? You know, what if Vance Honeycutt figures it out? They got a lot of options in center field. Is he expendable? You would probably like him not to be. You know, could you swap EBJ with O'Verne or something like that to satisfy that trade? I would love that. These teams want Enrique Bradfield. You know, I think majority of the scouts out there do think that he's probably one of, if not the best defensive center fielder in the game. So teams are going to be asking for him. And to land a guy like Joe Ryan or Rasmussen, it's going to take a quality package to do it. I wouldn't say that I'm against it, though. Like I would rather have the arm at this point just because of so much talent that's at every position that we have in the minors. Even though we have pitching talent too, just take the guy that's been there and proven it in the big league level. Rick, what's up, brother? Sean says, bring Mullins back. Please don't come in here with that slander. I love you, Sean, but goodness, we don't need nobody coming down here and hitting a $190 anymore. Dave says, Lane Thomas. I like Lane. Lane struggles against right-handed pitching, but he smashes left-handed pitching. So if he would be content coming in here and playing that role that he plays in Cleveland, where it's kind of just, you know, righties or lefties only, I'm content with that. He can still run a little bit. Not the greatest defender in the world, but his speed kind of makes up for it just a little bit. I would definitely take Lane, though. Another guy that I like is Miguel Andujar. Same kind of guy, really smashes left-handed pitching. Obviously, he came up with the Yankees playing third base. He's played a little bit of outfield with the A's, and I think he got moved over to the Reds and did some DH and outfield with them. But another right-handed bat that I would love for this team. I would like Harrison Bader in center field. I think everybody would, James, I think everybody would agree with you. It's going to come down. So is Harrison Bader worth between 10 and 15 million a year? He's not. Maybe 10, but because the center field market is so terrible, I think he's going to be paid as one of the top free agent center fielders. Obviously, he's going to be overpaid. And I don't think the Orioles are going to jump to that price just because of how much center field talent they have in the next year or two. They're not going to give that multi-year deal to Harrison Bader. I'd love it if he would take, you know, a 2 or 3 year, like $35 million deal or something like that. We'll say 3 for 35. I'd love that. Veteran guy, right-handed, plays good defense. You know, it was a pretty decent arm. I just don't think he's going to accept that. I think he's going to look for something. He's going to shoot a little higher than that. No to Mullins. Offensive production is not there anymore. Yeah, and honestly, the defense is it's still there, but it's falling off every year, which happens with age. I mean, it's no shot at Cedric Mullins. It just happens with age. Let's see. According to a chart I found, O's payroll $183 million, revenue $366. The red is a long way away. So revenue at 366 is outstanding, to be completely honest with you. And that's probably, Rock, what you were probably seeing was payroll and tax. Because, or they did bring in, did they acquire? No, they got rid of guys. It must have been payroll and tax. And there's, I think Sport Track has like opening day 26-man, price tag, and then like end of season 40-man price tag too. I need to go back and check all that. Because their numbers were definitely different depending on what website you went to a lot, but they all use different metrics, 26-man, 40-man, tax, no tax, all different stuff. But either way, yes, I agree with you. The red is a long way away, and if they get to that point, I think every fan of Baltimore is ecstatic. Let's see. Peralta, King, and Ryan. I love that. Not the Padres. The Brewers did say that they don't think they're going to move Peralta. And it would be kind of silly too. I mean, they're a pretty good team. Why would you sell it off that quickly? Look, you got to start to see what you can get this year. You can make the playoffs again. You do it. You trade him at the end of next year or whatever. You got to trade him at the deadline. But don't go into the season showing your team that you're kind of just getting rid of one of your best players. That never goes over well. But I would love him. If he is available, I would absolutely love him. I was watching football and just noticed I was live. I appreciate you, Rick. Birdland evening. What's going on? How are you? Thoughts on Alonso? Dude, Alonso hits with runners in scoring position. And that's something that we struggle with. He's right-handed. He is on the wrong side of 30. The defense is probably not as good as anybody on our roster currently. He is slow. Excuse me. So there are some negatives with Pete, but he hammers the ball. The moment's not too big for him in New York. Imagine going to a media in Baltimore that's not really going to drill you like New York. I think Pete would fit in very nicely here. It just depends on the years and when would he hit that Chris Davis wall? That's the question. God forbid if that happened again within like 2 years, this city would go nuts. This lineup badly needs a power right-handed bat. Completely agree. And Pete is that guy. Pete is that guy. You were very encouraged by the quotes as well. I feel like you have to be at this point. You have to be. Alonso and Bader for the offense. I don't think anybody around here would complain with that, James. Not at all. Michael King is another guy that I really like. Been kind of flying under the radar for a couple years, but he gets a lot of guys out. Does it quietly. Not a showboat kind of dude. Metrics aren't obviously jumping off the charts, but he gets dudes out. So I'm all about it. Sign Michael King. I don't even care about the length of Alonso's contract just because we were in a 2 or 3 year window with this core. If he's bad on the back end of the contract, we win. I agree with that. If you give him a 6-7 year deal and he's good for 4 of it, I'm okay with that. But what if he was only good for like 2, right? Then his fan base would poop a brick out. I probably would too. But yeah, I would still take the chance. I'm not going to say don't sign Pete Alonso and then let him go to Boston or something like that and just rake. Like, sign Pete Alonso if you got a shot. Not since 1996 has that roster been the top of the majors. Exactly. It's been a long time. Can you make a video about what minor league pitchers or relievers could play a big role this season? Certainly could. Appreciate you asking there. That would be a fun one. I mean, there's definitely some names pretty much right off the bit. Levi Wells could make his, a jump this year. Cade Stroud at the end of last year showed a lot of promise. Could he win a bullpen role this year and help out? He's got a pretty lively fastball. That's the thing with Levi Wells I like too. He's 97, 98, so he could be a guy. Trey Gibson was a guy that showed a lot of promise at the end of last year. Michael Forret was jumping through the minor leagues. I think Forret's probably still a few months away where Gibson's a little bit closer. But there's some guys that are going to be pushed next year, so we'll see. What, Nelson Cruz? What is this, 10 years ago? Alonso makes sense with him not getting qualifying offers to go after a pitcher with one. Exactly. Or you could go after a hitter with one and have Alonso and Schwarber. Let's get funky. Yeah, that'll never happen, but that'd be funny. Give Nelson Cruz $50 million. Yeah, that'd be funny. That would be funny. David Newham for center field. Get out of here with these names. Joey Rickard. Come on, man. If the Dodgers can defer contracts, why can't the O's? Everybody in baseball can. The difference with the Dodgers, they deferred all these contracts, and then Ohtani's contract, they made that back in revenue in 1 year just because of the Japanese market. The O's could do the same thing. I didn't even talk tonight about the guys that were in Japan. I don't know about them enough, but they could go out and sign that really good pitcher from Japan for all we know. The 2 hitters that are supposed to be pretty good. There's a lot of options there. They got to definitely have to jive in and get somebody. I don't think we can say get Kowser back. He's never been a good hitter except for a week in Boston. He was a good hitter in the minors, though. And I think when people say get back, like you watched a guy in college for 4 years or 3 years just rake. Obviously the competition's a little bit different, and then he went to the minor league system and just raked. Plus 300 at every level. Hit for power, spread the ball over the field. And OPS was pretty good. And then he just gets here and just everything just looked like a change. And I think they tried to morph Cowser more into a power hitter more than to just being a hitter. And I'm hoping these guys kind of just bring him back and say, hey, calm down, stop thinking, use and trust your hands, and just hit the ball where it is and just try to hit it hard. And I think you'll start seeing Cowser use the whole field again, not try to pull everything, not overthinking, okay, they're going to throw me a changeup here, they're going to throw me a curveball, and then just miss a fastball right down the middle or be late on a fastball in the inside corner. So when we say get Cowser back, it's just get him into a state where he's just not thinking, because he's a good player overall. The hands are fast. He does have power. He is a guy that you could make into a very, very decent ball player. And that's what we're hoping to see. Let's see. Does Kjerstad exist on this roster? I'm not sure he's on the opening day roster. No, he's not going to be on the opening day roster. He's going to have to fight for his chance to get back into the big leagues. I'm not saying that he can't. His age is against him, but obviously the power potential still always gives him a shot. So could he? Look, if he comes out and starts in AAA like he did in 2024, where he hit like 13 home runs in the first month, yeah, he's going to put himself back on the map, obviously. You know what he can do. You know that his hands are pretty fast. He's another guy that I thought maybe thought a little too much in the box. Get him kind of settled down, squared away, use your hands, hit the ball where it is. He does drive the ball to left field very well. He started to miss the inside corner and be the ability to pull the ball last year, which is why they sent him back down to Florida. But I don't know. I think some guys have leaped him at this point, and he's going to have to dig himself out. But the opportunity is obviously there. As long as you're wearing a jersey on your back, you always have a shot. It's up to you and what you want to do with it. So Kjerstad's still got a shot. If O'Neill could stay healthy, he could be that extra bat the O's need. He could for 120-ish games, maybe. He definitely could. He is going to get hurt again. I would go after Bregman and Tucker to solidify the future. Bregman, yeah. I think people are going to overpay for Bregman. Tucker's going to get paid like he's an elite hitter. He's a very good hitter. He's going to get paid like he's an elite hitter, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, to be honest with you. I think Schwarber's a better hitter. Especially when the going gets tough. But listen, if they sign Kyle Tucker for $400 million, I'm not going to complain, as long as they can still sign Gunnar too. O'Neill's to quit pumping iron. The Red Sox made him stop. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. I mean, the guy's built like a freaking linebacker. Did you see the 2+ signings that are 25+ annual value plus 3 years this offseason? They probably add something like $100 million to his payroll after arbitration. I would say 2+. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, because that's only 50. And if you get to 100, you could still sign 3, 4, 5, 6 more guys, depending on what you value and how much you have to pay them. I could definitely see that. We've never heard Mike talk like this. It might be the time to make some of these young guys uncomfortable, bringing these vets like Bregman, still find a spot like Sox did. 100%. 100%. Bring in Bo Bichette. Bring in Alex Bregman. Bring in one of them. Bring in Pete Alonso. Make Kobe Mayo fight in spring training, right? Do something along the boards here. What are you going to do with Holiday? What are you going to do with Westberg, right? Get them where they're thinking they're a little uncomfortable a little bit. Bring in somebody and make Cowser a little uncomfortable and see if they can elevate their game. And if they can't, then you kind of just know, okay, maybe we got to cut ties with these guys. But if they can, right, you find a way to make it work, because now you just made your entire roster better because of it. As long as the Buxton trade doesn't happen, I'll be okay. Dude's like O'Neill. He is, but he is a hell of a ball player. Hell of a ball player. Rasmussen is the name Cool Whip beats into that it is. But he's a good ball player. I like Rasmussen. If Mullins finds a way on this team, I'm done. Last year's Mike Elias, I think it was a shoo-in. This year's Mike Elias, I don't think it's a shoo-in. When they got rid of Jorge Mateo, it was the minute I knew that everything in this organization changed, because they didn't hang on to their baby. So I don't think Mullins finds his way back in here anymore. I think the guard has changed a little bit. Team full of lefties will be its demise. Potentially. They'll figure it out. They know that too. They'll get it figured out. Lane instead of Leonidas Tavares would be interesting. Look, Tavares is a good defender. He's just absolutely brutal at the plate. Lane provides less defense, better offense. So you just have to find that trade-off. Let's see. Mike doesn't give out specific information like he did unless there's enough evidence that he can sign at least one of each, like the guys he mentioned. I'm excited to see the speed here. I think the speed's going to be the key because Boston's going to hop quick. New York's going to try and hop quick. The Mets are going to try to hop quick. Texas always works under the radar. They try to sign guys quick. So I think Houston's trying to scrounge around. The Angels like to sign guys really fast for a ton of money. So the competition is going to be there. It's just what can they do with it? I think O'Hearn lands in Miami. Miami or potentially maybe like Arizona or somebody like that. Even the Mets. All of these guys need a first baseman, and why not get a veteran like Ryan? Let's see. O should get one. A center fielder like Bellinger or Bader, a frontline starting pitcher 1 plus a second starting pitcher for the back end of the rotation, closer plus a left-handed relief pitcher, setup guy, and a star right-handed bat. I think I'm saying that right? I completely agree with you. Sign one pitcher, whether that be the back-end guy or the frontline guy, and then trade for the other. I think instead of overspending, you can acquire some quality through a trade this year, whether that be like acquire Rasmussen and then sign Woodruff or something like that. There's some quality arms around this year that could really springboard this rotation. And again, like whatever you get out of Grayson's a bonus. So there's a lot to go on here. Trade Holiday, sign Bregman and Alonso. Listen, for the right price, I don't want to say it. For the right price, I would trade Holiday. I don't know that right price is. Everybody's got a price in life, right? I don't know what my price would be, but if it was the right price, I would trade Jackson Holiday. Would it be for Joe Ryan? No. Would it be for Alcantara? No. But if you had a chance to acquire Scooball, see you later, bud. See ya. Sorry. Stuff like that. Everybody's got a price. That DH from Japan is not a guy I expect good teams to target, to be honest. Owen pitches above 93, hitting .90 or something really bad. I've seen the same things. The comps they have on him are Joey Gallo. So maybe he settles for a minor league deal. I'd take the minor league deal. But they're talking like a multi-year deal for that guy, so I'm not really sure. Will Adley keep switch hitting? That's a good question. And I don't know. I've looked into it. At times he hits better for average on the right side. He hits better for power on the left side. And then there's times like last year, he just looked lost on both sides. I have no idea. It did help Cedric Mullin when he dropped one side, but I can't answer that question, to be completely honest with you. Who would I trade for Scooball? I mean, probably definitely Holiday. Probably Kobe Mayo. Even though they don't need him. That's the problem. They don't need him. But they would need Holiday because Gleyber Torres is a free agent. Everybody needs an outfielder or two, so probably Enrique Bradfield. I would probably throw in Vance Honeycutt as well. Man, you know what? I'll throw in Kjerstad. As a throw-in player. Here's the kicker, though. You would probably have to trade Trey Gibson or Michael Ferret, one of the two of your top pitching prospects. And probably would have to also throw in, I forget the guy's name, the guy they acquired this past year. Who was it with? He swaps clubhouses in Bowie. I can't remember his name right now, but you're going to have to swap in like another like mid-tier top prospect, like that 10 to 15 range, and then probably another late 20s. So it's going to have to be like a 6-man thing. It's a lot, but I think I'd do it. As long as I knew he was signing an extension. I'm not doing that for a 1-year rental. I'll say that right now. But if it was like, I'll trade you these 6 guys, and hey, here's a 6-year, $300 million deal or something dumb, whatever he wants, then yeah, do whatever you got to do. think Kerstad's more worried about getting healthy. He wasn't cleared to do more than a walk at the end of last year. He did a little bit more than that. He was hitting a good bit in Florida, from what I was told. It was just his bat speed had an issue. There were some rumors around about his heart. I had heard about him. They thought maybe that was the bat speed stuff, but apparently it wasn't. So I don't know. He looks healthy. Joe sent me some pictures from Instagram with his wife. Look, if a guy's ticker wasn't healthy, he ain't picking his wife up for a picture. I can tell you that. So he looks fine. He actually looked strong. Like, he didn't look like he lost any weight or anything. So hey, it's just on him to kind of figure it all out here. Kowser's strikeout numbers are scary. Hopefully the new coaching staff can get in his ear. Look, when you're confused at the plate, it's always going to look bad. Totally fine with one free agent starting pitcher and one trade. Yeah, me too. You crashed out. They traded Jackson. I don't think you would if it was a Tariq Skubal involved, though. I don't think you would. And now, what if it was Joe Ryan? I think we all would. It would just be dependent on everything. If the Pirates trade Keller and then only spend $30 and $40 million this offseason to slap in the face of all the baseball fans, probably. They got a pretty good rotation already. I would keep Keller at least until Jared Jones is 100% back. They have two young guys that are still pretty good, but we'll see. Andrew. I think so. That's a tough one, man. I think so. Again, same thing. As long as I knew he was going to sign an extension, because I think Hunter Green only has 1 year left. Don't quote me. Let's see. Hunter Green stats. When does Hunter Green become a free agent? He's a free agent in 2029. So you get him in 26, 27, 28. So 3 years. So 3 years of Jackson Holiday. I think I would. It would hurt my heart, but I think I would. And I say why? Because if Jackson Holiday grows up to be a superstar, I don't care if it's in Cincinnati. I really don't care. Excuse me. I don't care. I would do it. I would take Hunter Green for Jackson Holiday. For 3 years of Hunter Green, I would do it. That's a good one, Andrew. Good job. What's up, bud? Adit, yes. Jerron Watts Browns. Thank you so much. Yep. Kerstad's been in Fayetteville quite a bit lately. Good to hear. I considered trading with the Dodgers for Scott, see if we could fix him. Tanner Scott. So, yeah, Tanner was hurt last year. He had surgery on his butt cheek. I think he tore something inside the butt cheek or something like that. But he even posted a picture on Instagram, and he was holding the World Series trophy. He said, I got a new butt. I promise I'll be better next year. It was pretty funny to read. But I guess he was hurt and had some issue pushing off or whatnot. And he was hurt when he blew the save in Baltimore for the perfect game too. So, hey, I don't know if the Dodgers were going to be willing to trade him unless, maybe he was like a clubhouse cancer, but we'll see. Hunter Green isn't that good on the road. I still would do it. I think I'd still do it. Just to try. If you trade Holiday for Green, you better go all in. Right. 100% agree with you, Christian. 100%. How would it be if the Orioles and the Blue Jays spend more money than the Yankees this offseason? I don't see that happening. I mean, Blue Jays definitely. I mean, they were already like the 5th highest payroll in baseball. I did see that they are in on both Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette. That would be something. Mainly because where you put in Santander, you just gave a lot of money to. But maybe they're already kicking the tires on that. I don't know. Jays fans don't seem to like him too much. So I don't know. I'll only trade for Skubal if they sign him for 10 years. That works for me too. But we covered a lot tonight. Would you trade the Cubs for Nolan? Why would the Cubs get rid of him, though? I would, but why would they get rid of him? Surgery on the butt cheek. It's what he said on his Instagram. He had tore something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was on the butt cheek itself. He was on the push leg. He was struggling, got his surgery and whatnot. But yeah, look, we covered a lot tonight. We're an hour in. God, time flies when you guys are having fun. I appreciate all the comments from all you guys. Another great show as normal. I'm excited about the comments that Mike made. I'm excited about the coaching staff hires so far. There's a couple more on the way. They're taking a little bit longer. They haven't officially announced the Buck Britton yet. Buck may or may not be getting a position change. Obviously, that would come with a pay increase. So he hasn't officially put pen to paper yet to be retained in Baltimore. There's a couple other coaches that I do know about that have also not put pen to paper because they're not exactly sure what their role is going to be and how much the price is going to be and whatnot. But there are some coaches on the way that I will also just bolster already what we have that I'm very excited about. I actually have a couple videos already lined up about who they are and what they bring. So when pen hits paper, I will drop those on YouTube immediately. I already have my tweets lined up in my draft form and everything. So, things are looking up at Birdland. This is not the Mike Elias show anymore. In my opinion, I know other people might think it might be. Mike is obviously still calling the shots, but I think that Craig Alvarez has full control over his team at this point. His coaching staff, his team, the philosophy that they're going to run with. I think Craig has full control over all of that, and it's going to be a different vibe in Baltimore than what we're used to. They go out and they start spending some money on some really critical players. This fan base might not know what to do with themselves. And I'm here for it. I think we're all here for it. We're all ready for it. We're all ready to see a winning team and a playoff team back in Baltimore. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And hey, if you're new here, drop a like, drop a sub, come chat with us. Obviously, as you can see, if you're not on YouTube, the comment section is full. These guys love talking baseball. Come join us. And that's it for me for the night. I thank every single one of you that stopped in here tonight, and I'll catch you guys later.